Well, let's go back a little ways and tell us about, what really sparked you getting into music. Who were your inspirations? Who did you grow up listening to that said, I like to do this?
Well, I mean, being from the South, just by default, you kind of get exposed to many different styles of music. Country is one, the blues are another, but gospel was a big one, and my mom was a church organist. My brother also played instruments. He's got a master's degree in music, so all that together, kind of my life was just revolved around music. So I started getting into like really weird bands at an early age, and then I don't know, when I first heard it, living there, we didn't get exposed to the mainstream stuff.
Yeah.
When I finally did, I took to it. So one of the first bands I ever heard was Def Leppard. And when I heard Photograph for the first time, that was it. I was a
Now, did you hear it or did you see it on MTV?
I heard it.
Heard it?
I heard it. I heard it at an arcade.
It's like in that era where people started to watch music,
That's when it
Remember
started happening.
Pyromania was a big one on MTV.
That's when it started happening. We didn't have MTV.
Okay.
I didn't get MTV until I was 17 or 18 years old.
Okay, great.
So yeah, I missed a lot of that.
But you got the bug and really saw the big picture.
Yeah, and then I think the first time I heard Skynyrd, I dove into that band. That's one of the reasons I'm here, that band.
We're just hanging with Johnny Van Zandt, Ricky Medlocke, and the boys in Vegas 2 nights ago. They were out there for the Consumer Electronics Show, and it's amazing the perseverance. Now, I was there when the first Skynyrd came out, but just to be able to see those songs live on makes you really realize that songs have a bigger life than
the artist.
Band members.
Yeah.
I know you guys have been through a couple member changes here and there, but tell us about some of the ingredients of some of your songs that you felt that they've given you that kind of memorable quality. The ones that got out there on the airplay. What do you think it is about a good song?
I think if a song can evoke an emotion in someone, that's what they're looking for. You know what I mean? Like art and music are the two things. They're both the same thing, but like physical art that you can touch and see, and then art that you can hear, is the two things that people really are drawn to in the world, right? And a lot of people think that music is the most important thing to them ever, even more than family members a lot of times, especially kids, right?
Yeah.
So if you can evoke an emotion with a piece of music, that's what makes it a timeless piece of music. And a lot of bands do that, man. A lot of bands do that. And a lot of bands don't, but a lot of bands do.
So in the writing process, you really got to kind of figure out what people can relate to, what harmonies will stick to them.
I don't think you got to do it like that.
Yeah.
We never really sat around and thought about, this melody's the way to go. We just
can't predict it.
No, you just put them together, man, and you try to keep, like with Brad, I think, when we write lyrics, he tries to keep it vague but to the point, if that makes sense. So the person who doesn't have the ability to make it their own can just take it for what it is. You know what I mean? Like a song like Here Without You could mean many different things to many different people, but it could also mean the same thing to all of them. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, people can kind of put their own little taste on what it means to them. That's great. Now, when you joined the band, tell us about that process, how you got to be a member of this band, and what they were looking for that you had, and what drew you to want to partner up with these guys.
Well, we're all from the same little small town in Mississippi, and so if you were in a band in that town, you were in this band, or you were in just the other band. And so I was in a band with Todd, an original bass player, for years and years, a country band, believe it or not. And that band broke up, and Three Doors Down formed like the next week with Matt, Todd, and Brad. And I went to another band called Burning Bridges, and both bands kind of played parallel with each other for, I don't know, 2 years or so. And then Burning Bridges broke up, and I became available. So I started jamming. I already hung out with him, with all the guys in the band every day anyway, so I was already there, and I didn't have a gig, and they're like, man, get your guitar, let's just play, and then that was it. That's kind of how it happened. It wasn't like, we want you to join our band because you're a great player, or blah, 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 or we love you as a friend. It wasn't that. It was like, man, get your guitar, let's play, let's jam. Next thing I know, I'm gigging, and the next thing I know, I'm loading gear, next thing I know, I'm in the band. So.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, what we talked about before with Skynyrd, is that longevity factor. Sometimes living so close to each other in a bus and seeing each other every day can kind of wear on you. It's kind of like being married to 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah.
Now, what do you guys do to kind of keep that fresh or keep it friendly where you never run into those problems?
You're gonna run into those problems. That's the nature of the beast, man. I think it's about mutual respect. When people in those little areas, in little tight spaces, stop respecting each other, it gets bad. It gets bad. So if you can remember to take, to respect people for what they bring to the table, kind of keep it on that level. Be friends, be enemies, all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, be business partners and be respectful to each other. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? Yeah,
I guess it's when some guy becomes a dictator and doesn't respect others that the big chasm begins.
Addiction's a bitch.
Yeah, you got to kind of suck it up and be humble at some point.
Oh yeah. Or somebody's got to get your ass clean. You know what I mean?
There you go.
That works too.
Yeah. Now I know you guys have been on so many great tours and played in front of so many great crowds. When you look back, what are a couple of those memories, like shows, whether it was who you're playing with or the venue or something about the show that just keeps sticking in your mind like a real highlight?
I think one that always sticks in my mind, and we played on the USS George Washington off the coast of Portugal for the Navy. We filmed When I'm Gone, the video, but I remember just in the middle of that concert, because it was a video shoot, but it was a live show that they shot the show, so it wasn't like we were staging or acting or any of that crap like you do. And I remember just at one point in that show, I saw the shoreline of Portugal, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm 2,000 miles away from home on an aircraft carrier, and then it was a beautiful night and having a great time. I was young, band was huge. It was a really good time of my life, and I just remember reflecting at that moment, thinking I'm going to remember this moment for the rest of my life. So when people ask me this question,
so it's kind of a surreal moment of just like, is this real? Is this
I mean, I knew
kind
it was
of a
real.
fantasy?
I was like, man, this is what I do for a living. This is really cool, and I mean, I try to hold on to that.
Yeah. Any other shows?
There's and then we played one time in Austria, and probably 110,000 people, something like that. And the kids, when they go to those big shows like that over there, and I don't know why they don't do it here, but over there they raise flags. So a group of 15 or 16 kids will just put a flag up in the crowd, and everyone will just be like, oh, there's our flag. And that's how they keep together, right? So you're looking out over a crowd of 100-something thousand people, and all the stage stuff's up, and all the scaffolding and the lights, and all the fireworks, and all the fair rides, and all that stuff. And you see all these flags, and each one of them's different. And there's 300 or 400 of them, and even more than that.
Their family or their community or their school.
Yeah, and it's really cool to watch that, man. Just to kind of take a moment and be like, man, this is a really cool gig.
All those little communities.
Yeah.
And I know you played some picturesque spots like Red Rocks in Denver and all the natural places. That must be a great feeling to combine the music, the acoustic music with the natural beauty. With
some cool venues, Madison Square Garden, the Fillmore in San Francisco, and in Denver, which is another cool venue.
Right.
And then there's one in Milwaukee that a lot of people don't know about unless you're from there, but all the rock and roll people do. It's called the Eagles Ballroom, and I think Kid Rock even owns it. I'm not real sure. Maybe he does. I've heard that, but it's a really spooky, cool, haunted kind of place. It's got 5 or 6 floors of rock venues, and then it's got 5 or 6 other floors of just like mechanical, weird, deserted building.
Wow.
And it's fun to just get the
keys. Some old factory or something?
Who knows, man? Spooky, no lights, no electricity. It's all about a mag light and taking people and just exploring. And you can do 2 or 3 hours in this building all by yourself, and it's pumps will come on, and lights will flicker. It's pretty cool.
Wow,
and it's right across the street from where Dahmer did all that nonsense.
Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Which is another rock and roll thing, too, so.
Yeah. Well, we had Charlie Manson out here, so, it all goes together.
Richard Reese.
Right. Yeah. Now, tell us about breaking these songs down to an acoustic level and, why that's important and why that was what the band wanted to do this time out.
Well, man, I think we did it one time. We did it in Nashville, and the romance from the crowd to the band. I mean, when you play a show, you have a certain amount of give and take from the crowd to the band. And it's like, I don't know, it's almost like a friendship, if you will. But you lose an element of that when the place gets huge and big and pyro and all that. You kind of lose it, but you still get a little bit of it. You know what I mean? That's why we do this. But we did an acoustic show in Nashville, and it was so cool. It was so fucking cool, man. Like, people were talking to us, and we were talking to them.
Very intimate.
It was really intimate, and we'd never experienced that we've done a few acoustic shows at radio stations and whatnot, and in beer joints or whatever. But this was a full-on show, our fans, and we were playing the songs the way they were written, not the way we play them, but the way they were written. Because you can't really take a big arena rock song and just throw it on acoustic and expect it to live. It has to be, it has to be the way it was done. So we take them back a step. So almost like deconstructing our music. So people are going to hear these songs, they're going to hear them a different way.
So in a way, it's kind of like how they were written.
It is how they were written. Yeah. Exactly how they were written. Some of the parts that are on the big record that you hear are not going to be there. It's going to be different parts. It's going to be parts that the way it was written. So it's really cool.
Before you added all that amplification and all the big production and all that to it.
All the the producer has his little, let's do an octave part over top of this, that shit's going to be there.
Yeah.
It's going to be the way that the guys wrote it.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Now, obviously, you've seen a lot of changes in the music business, since you've been around, but there's still millions of kids growing up today grabbing that guitar, the drums, or that mic, and want to form a band. So out of everything you've seen, what advice would you give somebody today, as far as finding their own voice or style, or persevering in this business? What advice would you give them?
I would say, bands are fucking cool, for sure. They really are. Being in a band is one of the greatest things you can do, I think. I would say work really hard, and maybe, don't take it too serious, but be ready if the opportunity presents itself to go do it. Because if it presents itself and you're not ready, you'll kick yourself in the ass for the rest of your life. It'll ruin your life. It'll ruin your life if you have an opportunity to do this for a living and you fuck it up. You know what I mean? So be ready and work hard and learn to respect the other people that you work with. One thing I've learned in this business is that the people that help you up will damn sure be there when you come down. And they'll help you go by that way faster than they will getting you this way. Yeah. And they're waiting for you.
They'll throw you off the balcony here.
Yeah, and they're waiting for you. So that'd be my advice.
Yeah, that's amazing. And as this chapter closes with 3 Doors Down, where do you see the next one? Is what's left to accomplish? What's in your heart? To the next level.
I think what's next for us, as far as that goes, is just new music. It's time for new 3 Doors Down music. It's time for us to go out and do what we do. And we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're not trying to take over the world. We don't care how many records anybody sells. We don't care about that. We only care about what we do for our fans. And I think we're just going to continue to develop and become a band that's going to be around for a while. Because I want people to come see us like they do Skinner. You know what I mean? 25 years from now. We've already been doing it for 20. Another 25 ain't gonna hurt my feelings none.
Yeah, the music's timeless at that point. You see these blues guys, and of course, how's the blues based on that feeling? These guys were in their 80s. I remember running into John Lee Hooker. He was close to 100 years old in the Denver airport. He was still out there touring.
Still doing it, man.
That's
what we do.
And the fans appreciated it, and the music did not have an expiration date.
No, it still don't. What's up? I'm Chris from 3 Doors Down. If you've got music inside of you, let it out. INDIEPOWER.